how can we stay in the present moment all the time? It's a wonderful question, because what we know is the source of everything we want can only be obtained when we are in the present. We want to be happy, but you can only be happy right now. You cannot be happy tomorrow or yesterday. Your only opportunity for happiness is in this moment. You cannot be in peace yesterday or tomorrow. You can only be in peace in this moment. Now, if you are happy and in peace in this moment, chances are you'll carry that into the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. But if you're sitting right here, worrying about tomorrow, or daydreaming about yesterday, you have all sorts of feelings. Maybe you have nice memories, maybe you have some memories that are not so nice. Maybe you have hope. Maybe you have dreams. Maybe you have anxiety. I mean, there's a lot of different feeling states that we have when we think about the future. But happiness, even if I think, oh, when I get this thing, then I will be happy. That's an idea. That's not actually happiness. There's no happiness happening inside of me when I think, oh, when I get that car, then I'll be happy. That's just a concept. It's a thought. That's all it is. An idea. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Maybe I'll get the car. Maybe getting the car will make me happy. Maybe getting the car won't make me happy. आप इसको बंद कर दीजिएगा. Thanks. Maybe I'll get the car and I'll be happy for one day. Maybe I'll be happy for one day and then frustrated every day after that. But there's nothing for sure. Maybe I won't even get the car. So the happiness I theoretically am going to have in the future is merely an idea. The only possibility for real happiness is right here, right now. And here's what's interesting. If you can't access happiness now, it's very unlikely you're going to be able to access it in the future unless you change something inside of you. We think something's going to happen, that like from the sky, things are going to happen, things are going to change, then I will have happiness. But happiness comes from within, and either you have the ability to experience that from within through gratitude, through love, through being present, through service, through surrender. Or if you haven't developed any of those skills, do not kid yourself that some amount of money or some opportunity or some possession is somehow going to carry happiness into your life. If that were the case, the richest people would be the happiest people. But we actually know that isn't true. And so, this moment, right here, right now, is all we have to work with. And that which we create in this moment stays with us into the next moment. So this is why so many different spiritual traditions have a practice of meditation, of contemplation, of mindfulness, of something that is requiring me to be here now, to not be in yesterday, not in regrets, not in, wistful memories, not in tomorrow, either the anticipation or the anxiety, but just to be right here, right now. It's why there's so many practices of chanting, of prayer, of quiet meditation or contemplation. I mean, different religions, different traditions teach it differently. And the practices, of course, are slightly different, but one thing they all have in common is they bring you into the present moment. Right here, right now. I mean, yeah, you could theoretically be doing your japa while your mind is somewhere else. But I mean, who are you kidding? Right? I mean, japa is between you and God. Obviously, God knows if your mind's there. You know if your mind's there. So if you both know your mind's not there, what's the point? You're not kidding someone else. So they're all practices of coming into the present. And so as the questioner asked, how can we be in the present? Techniques practice. First, to realize that it's not your fault that it's difficult. The nature of the mind is to jump around. This concept of a monkey mind is something that our scriptures, those writing commentaries on the scriptures, the sages, the saints, the rishis, have been talking about for hundreds and even thousands of years. So the monkey mind is not created by how much you have to do today. It's not created by your present job or family situation or social media. These are just newer opportunities for the mind to jump around. It's like they're new toys for the mind. But the nature of the mind is to jump. It's like you could give a monkey a tennis ball. You could give it a ball of string. You could give it a banana. I mean, you could give it 100 different things. It's going to play with them all. It's not the fault of the thing. The thing is just what the monkey is using at the moment to be a monkey. In the same way, the mind is just using what you offer to it. But its nature is to keep jumping. So whatever you give it, it's going to keep jumping. That's its nature. So don't feel badly. Don't berate yourself. Recognize it is the nature of the mind. But also that there's a lot of beautiful tools and techniques that our sages and our saints and our rishis have given us. And these techniques range from the very, very simple, what you could call just really sort of cognitive behavioral work. Watch the breath. Okay, even if you pull it out of religion, pull it out of spirituality, pull it out of devotion, just a behavioral practice, watch the breath. Brings you into the present moment. Be mindful. There's so many paths teaching mindfulness today that are separate from any religion. I mean, Hospitals are teaching it. Corporations are teaching it. Schools are teaching it. Across America, across so much of Europe even. Because it's really good for us. It's good for the mind. It's good for the body. It's good for our productivity. So even if you don't have spiritual aims and objectives, you can bring practices of mindfulness. It's very simple. Mindful eating, mindful drinking. So many of us, when we eat, when we drink, when we walk, we're constantly doing other things. Whether we're actively on our phones or chatting with someone or watching TV, or whether our minds are just thinking about other things. When I get where I'm going, here's all the conversations I'm going to have, right? Walking to a meeting. Well, we're practicing all the conversations in our mind before we get there. But instead, can you just allow yourself to actually feel your feet as they touch the ground? Can you actually feel the water, the food going down into you? Can you just be aware of it? Be aware of the breath. Be aware of every step. Can you brush your teeth mindfully? I mean, really, everything we do is an opportunity to just be mindful. Right? When you brush your teeth, what are you thinking about? Well, many of us are planning the day, right? Maybe we didn't get enough sleep the night before. Maybe we overslept, we didn't make it to the gym. Whatever it is. But our minds are already going. Instead, mindfully brush your teeth. Mindfully walk. Whatever you do, bring mindfulness into it. And what that'll do is it'll bring you into the present moment. And obviously, if you can bring a spiritual component to it, it's going to be only that hundreds of times more powerful, more rich. Because then not only are you here now, but you're here now in love. You're here now in gratitude. You're here now in connection. So if you've got a devotional practice, as you're aware of the breath, another beautiful way to be here now is the practice of a mantra. Allow that recitation of the mantra to fill you with love, to fill you with divine connection. So there's lots and lots and lots of practices, but it takes practice. This is why we are taught abhyas. Abhyas in the Bhagavad Gita, why Krishna emphasizes abhyas. Because it doesn't come naturally. It's not the nature of the mind. So we train it. We train it. We train it. And the good news is that even though the mind is not actually like a muscle biologically, like the tissue of the white matter and gray matter is not like the tissue of muscles, nonetheless, it actually works much like a muscle, I've discovered. Whatever you do with it is actually what it learns how to do. That which you strengthen is that which gets strong. That which you ignore is that which stays weak. The paths that you tend to go are the paths that tend to work for you. So use it like a muscle. Strengthen it. And it'll bring you, at the bare minimum, it'll bring you peace. At the bare minimum, it'll bring you an experience of joy. Because believe it or not, this moment is actually really beautiful. Doesn't mean you're not in the midst of all kinds of turmoil and things going on, but if you can isolate just the moment, not the story, not everything that led up to the moment, not everything that you've got to deal with after the moment, but just this moment, just this breath, it's actually really beautiful. So at the bare minimum, you get peace and an experience of joy. And if you bring spirituality into it, well, then the doors of everything open. And the practices are simple. Not easy, but simple.